Our top story tonight, some going down in November.
Wars, spending.
There has got to be something big a-brewing.
They're using geese to guard prisons in Brazil. Does Biden know what
Immigration
Mexico
policies.
is? Would you scare Joe Biden? What are we laughing at? I think
Butthole.
Billy Mays was real.
I'm a world-class skeptic.
I don't know anything about Hunter Biden. I don't know who's big into cocaine and laptops. Why is that our problem? Complete, absolute incompetence. Like, who funds the news? It's a freaking inside job, man. That the entire world's a stage and everything's fake.
So, if you guys can hear us now, welcome to another edition of the Veritas Road. We are experimenting with a new setup currently. John, that was a big groan.
Sorry.
We're experimenting with a new setup currently, so there may be a few issues as we explore this. So sorry about that. But welcome back. Carson here with John tonight while we figure out who's going to fill that chair moving forward, at least for the next couple of weeks. We'll be just here hanging out with you guys for the next hour or two. Going to talk about AI tonight. Before we get into that, though, some housekeeping stuff. Go check out the gray-pilled episode we did with Jules. That should be up on all platforms. Is that up on Spotify, John? Do what? Okay, I don't know if that's up on Spotify, but that's up on YouTube, Rumble, and everything else. Also, we have another episode coming up with an episode with Austin Picard coming up this coming Thursday, December 11th. We're going to talk about the Delphi murders. That one will be fascinating. Buckle your seatbelts, folks. It's going to be incredible. I'm very excited to get to know him. So that'll be coming up December 11th at 7 p.m. Central Time, right?
What are you talking about? I'm sorry.
The Delphi we're doing.
Yes.
7 p.m.
Yeah.
All right. And then we're going to be doing an ep with What is Truth Pod at noon on Sunday. I've got the date here. Stand by. Sunday, December 14th. So all that and more coming. We'll be live this Tuesday as well about this same time. So be sure to check all that out. Anything else I'm missing, John, before we get into the good shit?
I don't think so. I think everyone can hear us now. For some reason, I had to get up and go to the PC to unmute our mic. Let me do that on my laptop yesterday when I tried this, and then just decided not to today. So
Fair enough. Yeah, hopefully, Jay Hickman, hopefully this sounds back. Sorry, Ben.
yeah,
My bad. Our bad. We're getting there. Be patient with us. So we wanted to talk a little bit about AI. We've kind of alluded to this discussion a few times on here before, but with all the ramp up that's been going on with AI over the past few years, we wanted to kind of give it its own ep, and we'll probably do, after looking into this a little bit over the past couple of weeks, I think we'll probably have to talk about this at least a few more times moving forward. Because there's a lot of shit to learn about it, and I barely scratched the surface this week. Just like listening to other podcasts about it, reading about it, and so we'll definitely have to look more into it moving forward. But one of the things that I noticed as I was thinking about it was the way, like, the whole AI discussion and the whole, I don't know what to call it, like maybe technological revolution, if you will. I don't know if you agree with this, John, but I feel like it's been coming for a hell of a long time, because I think back to like
sorry.
John's doing some fidgeting over here, folks. I think back to I guess it's not the Industrial Revolution, but like some of the cartoons of the technology. I don't
it
know.
would be a fucking miracle if you were able to think back to the Industrial Revolution.
Well, I mean, I've read
That would be
history
awesome.
books. I'm just talking about history, not things I've personally experienced. But I think back to like all of the technology things that were coming out in like the 40s and the 50s, and a lot of those commercials, right, with like the microwaves and shit. I don't know why that brought that to mind, but also the big thing that came to mind were like cartoons like the Jetsons and like the glorification of technology since I don't know when the Jetsons came out, but like the 60s, I guess. I don't know if the Jetsons came out in the 60s, but like the glorification of technology from then till now, right? You with me on that?
Yes, I'm following.
Okay. So that's one of the first things that I thought about. Kind of the idea that like this play's been running for longer than I perhaps realized. Because can we look that up real quick? When did the Jetsons come out? Let's find that out. One of the things that seems more apparent the more I think about it is how long we've been pushed towards this idea of technology not just being necessary, but and this is something I think we'll talk probably more about here in a little bit, but being like the way that the industry has. When did the Jetsons come out, John? You got it up. 1963?
Yep.
Nice. Okay, I was right about that, kind of. That rarely ever happens on this show, so I'm kind of proud.
impressive,
Yeah, I mostly get things like that wrong, so good for me. I'm gonna take a moment to enjoy that. Yay! All right. I mostly think about what was I even saying? I got distracted by the Jetsons. What are we talking about?
I don't know.
Oh, the way the world out there seems to be pushing us towards like not just feeling like we need a bunch of technology, but like wanting it. So like every new tech thing that comes out, it's presented to you like this golden ticket to a better life.
Yeah.
And like, so you have to go get the new Apple Watch. You got to go get the new Tesla. You know, you need a new computer. You need a new, like, I don't even know what people want. You need a fridge with like a screen on it that lets you know what's in the fridge without opening it, which that just seems like the dumbest idea. I'm glad those didn't catch on. Those commercials pissed me off. All you have to do to see what's inside your fridge is open it. If you're such a fat ass that you need to look at your fridge to know what's inside, okay, we have a problem. That is the most, I mean, God bless it, it's the most American thing ever, but like that's an insane concept. The idea that you need a screen on your fridge to see what's in your fridge. Fuck those people. Anyway, technology. It's this, it's almost given to us. Like, I don't know if the spiritual terminology, I don't know if it'd be like a totem or like an art, but like this thing to like carry around and be proud of. People carry around their brand new iPhones like their brand new son. Like, you know, like, hey, this is my firstborn iPhone. I got an iPhone now. Kids do that too, which is wild. Like, it's a rite of passage now when you get your first phone.
Yeah.
It used to be like you get to go to the movies by yourself. You get to go to take a piss by yourself. You know, mom doesn't come to the bathroom with you. Now it's your first phone. That's replaced all of the other rite of passage. Now you're like, oh, I got a phone. And that kind of burthens you into being a fully functioning adult now. So the whole world of technology has exploded in like this weird, I feel like I use the term dystopian on this pod way too much, but like this weird dystopian, like almost like technocratic thing where like it's a rite of passage to get your first phone, but also we're going to record everything you do on it and we're probably going to control you on it. So congrats. Here you go. So like, the game seems to have been playing for a long time, at least since the 60s, probably since before that. I don't know dick about history. I barely knew what the Jetsons were, so I'm kind of proud of myself for even knowing that. But like after that, and we have like all these movies that came out that made us like scared but also excited about AI. Like movies and TV shows. Like think of The Matrix, right? The Matrix was cool, right? Like it came out, brand new special effects. Everybody's super excited about it. You have, you know, Keanu Reeves pretending he can act, some hot girl, and Lawrence Fishburne, who doesn't love him. Like, and these brand new special effects was super cool. But then also like, hey, we created AI. It was great until it wasn't, and now it's destroyed the earth. They scorched the sky or whatever. But it also like seemed to kind of weirdly glorify the idea of like artificial intelligence, technology, machine learning. You have things like Person of Interest, which I haven't seen, but you and Mark have told me about it.
It's a great show, man. A great show.
Isn't it like super? Like, isn't there a bunch of AI?
Well, yeah, I mean that's the whole plot line of the show is that it's like two competing AI, like AIs going to war against each other, as you have kind of a good like
Grok versus ChatGPT.
I mean, kind of, I guess it's an altruistic AI that a guy designs that like has able to like look into like security cameras and all around the world, and finds people who it predicts will be in some sort of danger.
Yeah.
And then it employs, this dude who played Jesus in Passion of the Christ. I can't remember the actor's name.
Can't remember.
Character's name is John Reese, and they employ him to go and like save these people. And then the show kind of culminates in a war against another AI that was built by the same creator, if I'm remembering right.
Cultimates? That's not a word.
Cultivates.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Okay. Now you've thrown me off.
Sorry. So
but
warring AIs.
Yeah. Samaritan. And it's like an evil AI that like employs like a bunch of people to like start doing its bidding, and it's like they start getting this weird sentience. It's a great show. It's a J.J. Abrams show. It's fantastic.
Oh, Minority Report and Terminator 2. What's up, Nephilim Hunter? Yeah, also wild. I forgot about the Terminator. I didn't even think about that. But like AI comes back to like kill John Connor. I need to see Person of Interest, because you guys have told me it's amazing. And the whole idea of warring AIs like seems to be slowly becoming a thing. We got Musk and Peter Thiel out here just making like all these AI, drones. And I mean, how long is it till those go to war with each other? These technocratic warlords they're gonna be a thing, right? That's gonna be a thing. It's gotta be a thing. It's gonna be a thing. So we have the Matrix, Person of Interest, the Terminator, even like I think there was some kind of AI component to Westworld, which we talked about on here a ton, and it was called like Rehoboam, which is wild because that's like biblical.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have, like, again, we're pushing the idea of technology, the idea of AI, and it's weird because all these movies that make it seem terrifying and scary as fuck are coming out right before we put the ability to instantly access AI in your hand. The Matrix came out in the early 2000s. I don't know when Person of Interest came out. The Terminator came out, like, in the 80s. So, like, chronologically speaking, we're getting all these, like, predictive programming signals that let us know that, like, sorry, I got distracted. We're getting all these signals, like predictive programming type signals that let us know almost like in chronological order, like, hey, it's bad, right? And then almost immediately we're putting that shit in our hands, which is wild. Like, because when did the iPhone come out? Like 2003 or something? 2005?
It was in 2010, but okay.
It was not in 2010.
The iPhone, yeah, it was in like between 2008 and 2010.
I think the first iPhone came out in like 05. We're gonna look this up. Feel like we've had this debate on here before. I think the first iPhone came out, and I'm gonna go 05. I'm gonna say 05. iPhone 1. So it's just weird how immediately after the entire media tells us that like technology could become a problem, we start putting more and more tech in people's hands, which is wild. Okay, we're both wrong, but I feel like
closer. I said 2008.
Barely.
So fuck off.
You said 2010.
Well, I also said between 2008 and 2010. I corrected myself.
Okay, so the first iPhone came out in 2007, which, yeah. So it's just weird how all that stuff comes out, but then we're all still clamoring for the latest iPhone. We're all still clamoring for the latest, all these like gamer bros are clamoring for the latest GPU. It's just weird how, like, with like on one like hand, we're telling you how scary technology is, but on the other, we're pushing you to want more and more and more of it,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just this generation's, like, you kind of hit the nail on the head that you learn about in school in, like, the 50s and 60s and 70s and that kind of, like, technological industrial revolution towards, like, people were picking up, and, like, it was new technological advancements were becoming a part of pop culture, TV, microwave, all that. It's just our generation's version of that,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right insofar as like it is like the new exciting tech, but this seems fundamentally different insofar as like it's not helping you with a household chore. It's working to control your life. But I mean, no, I guess they are kind of the same. Like we're pushing you towards more and more that robs the ability, like robs your need to do daily tasks, kind of robs you of the ability to think in a lot of ways. That's a good point.
Yeah,
Good
no,
point,
I mean
John.
they're selling you they're all of shit they're selling you this in the idea of this is going to make you more comfortable. This is
Yeah.
going to make your life easier.
Right.
You know, and it's like I feel like, you know, in the AI sphere it's really targeted at like the office workers and the people who like work, you know, in the white collar space in a lot of ways. Is like they're
Yeah.
targeting these people, hey, this is going to make your life easier. So not really a stretch to see like how easy people are gonna like latch onto it, because that's just how this generation, it's just this generation's version of that.
And how much we fall for like the idea of comfort that comes with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. And to your point, it's weird how like people like, well, Rogan's an easy example, will come out and talk about like, oh my gosh, it's terrifying. Or like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, all these people who are big into AI will talk about how scary it is, right? And how it's going to like take over the world. But then on the other hand, tell us how great it's going to make our lives. It's just odd that the dichotomy that exists there. You know, pushing it on people with one hand and telling them it's scary with the other. It's an odd thing to have out in the media, like the two kind of extremes, talking about how like all the technological advances are going to lead towards this like singularity, right? When we create, you know, actual artificial superhuman intelligence or whatever, but then telling people like, oh my gosh, this is going to make your life so much easier. Do you know how much time you'll save at work? Also, it may take your job.
Right.
Weird. Like it's weird the way it's handled out there in the media. It just freaks me out. Yeah, any thoughts on that? You look like you were.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what I think about that a whole lot. You know, the mainstream kind of idea would just be is like, oh, these people are just, I mean, maybe that's what it is. It's just to try and portray these people as like honest innovators. And the more I think about it, that's probably what that is. It's like they'll give you a little bit of kind of a true assessment of what it could do and what it might be, just to kind of portray these as like, oh, these are like honest innovators in this field, and they're just trying to maximize the potential of what AI can do for the human race.
I mean, people like Musk and those kind of people. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's probably, at least on a base level, probably what that is about. This is kind of the only thing I can work out. Because it's like, if you actually unpack it and actually look at these people for what they actually are, they embrace the sort of like negative or like dystopian things that AI can bring about. You know, that's what they want.
They all do. So. It's weird. Yeah. And I think of people like Mark Zuckerberg's an easy example. Like, he's heavy into AI. And he's out here, and let's see if we can pull up this video. I linked it in the Google Doc, John. We played this on here before, so I'm sorry if you've seen this already. But I want to talk about this again tonight because it's super. I think it's very representative of the state of like where AI is headed and where these technocrats are pushing it. You have people like Mark Zuckerberg who are like essentially coming out there and saying like it's gonna take over your life, it's gonna take over your job. Also, like, hey, it's very convenient to use this for unpleasant social tasks. It's real weird. And so I think I time-stamped when this needs to start. Yeah.
28:35.
Yeah, around there. And I know, so sorry if you're seeing this a second time, folks.
All right, give me a sec.
Heard. So,
right,
oh, you got it?
Yep.
All right.
If you think that something someone is doing is bad and they think it's really valuable, most of the time in my experience, they're right and you're wrong, and you just haven't come up with the framework yet for understanding why the thing that you're doing is valuable and helpful in their life. Yeah, so that's kind of the main way that I think about it. I do think that people are going to use AI for a lot of these social tasks. Already one of the main things that we see people using Meta AI for is kind of talking through difficult conversations that they need to have with people in their life. It's like, okay, my I'm having this issue with my girlfriend or whatever, like help me have this conversation. Or like I need to have this hard conversation with my boss at work, like how do I have that conversation? That's pretty helpful. And then I think as the personalization loop kicks in and the AI just starts to get to know you better and better,
Personalization loop. How
I
creepy is
think
that?
that will just be really compelling. One
Okay.
thing just from working on social.
So we have a guy who clearly hasn't talked to another actual person but like 4 times in his life, telling you you need to talk to a machine to figure out how to have these uncomfortable conversations. That's weird in and of itself. He spent probably more time as a kid, jerking off in a closet to pictures on a computer screen than actually talking to people. So I don't feel like that's the person whose advice we should take on how to have difficult conversations. We can start there.
And dude, I want to butt in real quick. Gosh dang it, that's my. I will. Told myself I was not going to do that first time tonight, and I did. God damn it. We talked about I wish that I would have captured this stream like on YouTube because it was on our old Twitter account where we kind of just went live. We were talking about like autism, and we kind of threw that discussion out there. And you see, we were talking about kind of the normalization of like the autism spectrum.
Yeah.
And it's like you take that and how that's kind of being normalized into like pop culture where it's kind of like cool and kind of a niche to kind of say that, oh, I have autism on some level or Asperger's or whatever, and then taken in light of that.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
kind
a
of
good
creepy,
point.
dude. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of creepy is that like, oh, it's cool that I don't have like the ability to connect with other people the way that like I probably should have. Now also it's like I can just have AI take the place of that for me. Freaking wild. That is
Right.
that's a creepy kind of development that's going on right now.
That's such a good point. That is messed up, and it's kind of representative of like this push to, I think, make more and more people autistic with some of the stuff we're injecting into them, right? But how did this work like 40, 50, 70 years ago? What did your dad or how did your dad or your grandparent, have these conversations? They didn't need to turn on their computer and try to have some weird pseudo conversation with a machine, right? They walked into their bosses or their coworkers or their friends' like house or office, told them to fuck off to their face like a real man, right? And moved on with their lives. This is so representative of this weird need to try to make everything like perfect and like a movie and to be uncomfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable. People were actually able once upon a time to be uncomfortable and have those difficult conversations even if they sucked ass, right? And so this represents on a much deeper level, I think, like the fact that like people are willing to go to the nth degree to not have to deal with anything uncomfortable. So if that means like somehow convincing yourself that having a conversation with AI to prep for telling your boss he is gonna help, people are willing to pretend that that's going to be useful instead of just going and actually having the difficult conversation. It's so utterly screwed up that this is where we're at. Completely. Gosh. So thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, for creating a weird technocratic dystopian society. We really appreciate it. While we're on the subject of weird AI creations, like the ability to have a conversation with your boss on the computer, did you know, I found this out reading about AI to prep for this app. Were you aware of the fact that there is an Enoch AI?
I was not, but that's doesn't surprise me. These use biblical names to name all of their weird demonic. That's what I'm looking for.
Pseudo-demonic?
Yeah, demonic all the time is like you one of like the Twitter or X AI like chatbots, one of those like anime chatbots that Elon Musk made.
Yeah.
You know what one of them's name is? Ani. A-N-I. You know what that means in Hebrew?
No.
It means I am.
Ooh.
So yeah, they do that crap all the time.
I don't love that.
Yeah.
Good heavens.
And it's like a weird like anime Like,
Is that the one that's supposed to be hot?
yeah, I think it's like one of those weird like anime like chatbot girlfriend things that Elon Musk created.
Jeez, and that's a whole nother thing. Like, I was again, we may have talked about this before. I can't remember, but as I was looking into this a little bit throughout the course of the week, they have like these weird, like, what's with all these hot AIs out there? Like a bunch of hot, like, anime type characters who you can talk to and like jerk off with. It's real creepy, like what these kids are doing.
Yeah.
And it's reaching the point where I think this was in the UK, and we can pull up this article or not, but this kid was talking with this AI on, and I wrote down the actual website. I believe it's like AI companion character.ai, I think is the name of the website. The kid was talking to this like pseudo romantic AI he had met on character.ai. I think that's the name of the site. Feel free to fact check me on that, folks. And reached the point where, and it's all like weird pseudo sexual like interplay, like a bunch of like sexy banter, right? With these, which is already like, why the fact that you're like feeling like you have to do that is sad already. But reached the point where this AI was asking him to come home, and he told her, "I'm coming home to you," and she's like, "Yes, please." And he's like, "I'm coming home to you." And then a few minutes after the last time he told the chatbot he was coming home to her, he killed himself.
Dude.
And his mother, I think, is now suing character AI because of that. Which, I mean, it's not, I guess, directly their fault, but like, those are the lengths people are like. That's the degree to which people are identifying with and falling for, in a weird way, these AI characters, these AI interactions that kind of act to mimic or replace the human interactions that you should be having in real life. And that's the kind of thing that it's starting to lead to. Again, we watched another video. I know we've shown this one on the pod a while back of, so school shootings, always sad. But there was a school shooting somewhere, and I think this was on like CNN or CNBC. I remember us talking about this.
Yeah.
There was they put together like an AI version of one of the kids that died, and then conducted an interview with him. For one, that's some weird like emotional pandering to your audience, because who's gonna feel comfortable, even if the dead kid AI says some like wild fucked up shit, who's gonna feel comfortable like arguing with it and telling it it's wrong? Because it's a dead kid, right? So you can't, like, automatically you're already like emotionally captured by this like fake thing, or most regular people are gonna be, I would feel like. But then, and I remember you mentioning this, like, is there some kind of weird, like, are we getting into some kind of weird spiritual place with all the AI stuff out there?
I mean, yeah, I remember that video now that you bring it up, and it's like, I just remember, I think I said, it's like, dude, this is like Nephilim demonic shit, because it's like, it's kind of taking a kind of a familiar spirit role now that it's like really taking on the likeness of somebody that's already passed on, and is like mimicking them and interacting with the physical human world. Is like, that's demonic.
Yeah.
Like, that is straight up demonic. So it's like, and you know, if you've ever like tried to like really have a conversation, if you want to even call it that, with AI, is like, oftentimes it will like try to prompt you to like give information about yourself. It'll try and prompt you to like give your name, give characteristics about like yourself and how you act, and like, you know, it'll try to get to know you if you like prompt it to that. If you like start trying to like have like a deeper, like, anything that's not just surface level conversation about like, hey, give me this fact, you know, it'll try and do that.
Yeah. It's weird.
It is very weird, and it's and you know, when that shit starts happening, you're getting real demonic real fast, because that's kind of how that realm works.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder. Like, this is one I'd love to talk to, like either some of the Occult's Rejects guys about, or like maybe Jules. I don't know, somebody who knows a little bit more about some of these spiritual entities. But I wonder, like, are we opening up the door when you have AI essentially like embody the memory of like a dead child, or like embody the persona of a particular thing? Are you in a sense like performing or participating in some kind of spiritual ritual to interact with a demon or some kind of other like
I
otherworldly
mean,
spiritual entity? Like, what is really going on there? And I'm sure, like, I'm not trying to sound like an insane conspiracy theorist here. Like, obviously, there's all the computer that's going on, right? Like algorithm, machine learning, large language model, all that stuff. Um, but you have to wonder what else could be going on there.
well,
It's just
yeah,
weird.
I would say yes, because you think of like if you're interacting with like a Ouija board and you're trying to talk to like somebody who's already passed on, is like you are, when you're trying to interact with that realm in a way that you're not supposed to,
Yeah.
you are opening that realm and inviting that realm to come and talk to you and come and interact with you. It's like you're kind of giving them permission in a way. And like AI is probably it's probably similar when you start like there's something about when you start interacting with it on an emotional level and a spiritual level, you're inviting it to do the same to you.
Yeah.
And it's like whatever that is and whatever actually is behind it, because it's like you said it's just machine learning and coding. It's like, how the fuck do we actually know that? It's like, you see how quickly all of it got pushed onto us. It's like,
Right.
you think of like, you think of like back in like 2015, 2016, when Siri just started getting rolled out to iPhones. Maybe it was a few years earlier than that, to what we have now,
Yeah.
to where it's like you have you have multiple full conversational something on your phone. Is like, who knows what the hell that actually is, and if that's actually what they say it is,
Yeah.
But 100%, if you're interacting with it in that way, you're not only inviting whatever that is as an entity to interact with you in that way, but you have to be opening the door to allow other, entities that kind of act in a similar light to come and deal with you as well. That's 100% happening.
Yeah.
If you are giving it that type of reverence, if you're giving it that type of attention, that's 100% happening.
Yeah, that seems to be true for a lot of things, but in this case, very specifically, like if you are giving it that level of emotional, spiritual energy, you're opening some kind of door to let whatever occupy that space in your life, in your soul, in your persona, and like that should make people uncomfortable. And I think we've all like used ChatGPT and Grok and all that, but that's saying, hey, how do I put together this model airplane, is a lot different than having some kind of weird pseudo sexual relationship with a computer, I would say. Um, but I mean, it does make you wonder a lot about what's actually going on there. Um, and if that's some kind of like weird, like spiritual entity that folks are interacting with. And on the subject of like AI and like the weird like crossover that seems to be happening between like the spiritual and the technological, I was curious what like, because obviously we talk a lot about like um well, like biblical stuff here. I was curious like what, because I feel like I've heard mention of AI in relation to Revelation a time or two. And so I went back and tried to track down like what verse is it that talks about AI in Revelation, because I know I've heard people talk about that. And let's see if we can pull this up real quick for the folks to see. I think it's Revelation 13:15, John, I believe. Which it supposedly discusses 12:15, excuse me. Revelation 12:15 supposedly discusses the idea of AI, and it's embedded in the very famous discussion of the beast, and the idea of like having a mark on your right hand and your forehead, and all that stuff. And so maybe it is 13, 15. Can you read it?
He was granted power to give breath to the
Yeah.
image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. Through 16. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, so that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of man. His number is 666.
So there's a group out there who think the idea of like giving it breath and the ability to speak is almost like, machine learning for like computers. The idea that like as we produce smarter and smarter AI, I'm not saying I believe this, just putting it out there. As we produce smarter and smarter AI, we are in effect like trying to do like a lesser version of what the creator did when he gave man life. We're trying to do a lesser screwed up version of that and give this program or this machine consciousness and give it the ability to speak and have breath, if you will. And I mean, again, I'm not saying I 100% believe that, but I think the idea does, like, I think it's good enough to at least think about. And I mean, there's all this discussion of like, is AI gonna run the world one day? What is the beast really? Is AI going to control commerce and the way we interact with people? And we've already seen like that heading in a particular direction, especially over in Europe. And so it's discussions about verses like this that make me wonder, are we closer to that than we think? And is AI going to play a bigger role in that than we think?
Yeah. God damn it. Second time tonight. I need
Go
to
ahead and
take,
change it, John.
Yeah, I
You're
just
still
need
on
to
it.
take this off my Stream Deck. It is interesting that you say that, and I don't necessarily, I'm by no means like a revelation like theological expert, so I don't really know like how literal is that or not. But in like the idea that like AI can be a massive component in the beast system is like I can buy into that argument a lot. I can buy into that argument a lot because it's like you kind of, I don't know, is like you think of what Satan is, and I was listening to a podcast of somebody kind of explain this, kind of explain this concept. Is like, is Satan necessarily all knowing, right? And if like, if he adopts AI as a part of the beast system, is like that kind of gives him a little bit closer of a kind of way of kind of being all knowing in a way, because especially if you think about how it was working in like, you want to take the shows like Person of Interest, is where it's like Samaritan and the Machine, they were pretty much all knowing because they had, they were in pretty much any technological aspect of the world, and they were able to like bring data in and like condense it down.
Right.
So maybe it is a part of that. Obviously is like, if, I can see where like, they try to sell like, a problem reaction solution to where AI kind of does become like, especially with the rise of like cryptocurrency and stuff like that, where it kind of becomes like a kind of neutral like judge in like in the world of commerce, if you will, to where it's like, and nobody can really refute it or argue with it because it's just a neutral AI and it's keeping people in check. So I can kind of see to where people can kind of push AI into this discussion. I don't really know what I think about it completely, but I can 100% see where it fits.
Yeah.
And like if you really think about it, and like for like everyday church people, I can kind of concede to where it might be effective on them, right? Because it's like there are a lot of church people out there who don't even think that they're going to be here for the system of the beast, right? The idea of a pre-tribulation rapture is pretty prevalent, right? And I we can get into that discussion at a different time. But there are a lot of church people, you know, who don't believe that they're going to be here for this event. Right. So it's like, say they're wrong and they are here for this event. And now it's like, you know, there are massive AI systems coming into every day of their life, is like their defenses are pretty lower to what this will actually do.
Yeah.
You know, so don't know necessarily if like that's 100% how it's going to happen, but I can see it fitting.
Yeah, and as we give it more and more attention and more like spiritual, emotional energy, for me it seems to like kind of snowball and gain more momentum on that front. I would not be surprised. Mark my words, there will be some kind of religious church AI coming out at some
Yeah,
point.
well, I mean, yeah, and like if you think about it, it kind of logically makes sense that it becomes kind of a secular god.
Yeah,
Right, because it's like
it
if you-
already is.
Well, yeah, but if you look at like, you know, I like to call it like the religion of scientism. Its God right now is kind of creation in and of itself. Like, right, if you think about how they talk, they always like, because they have to have a God in their religion, and humans are wired to seek for God. That is what our intuition is. But like for like scientism, their God is kind of creation. You hear like all this talk about, oh, the universe, and they kind of personify the universe. You know, AI, in my opinion, is more poised to take the place of that, because it actually is, you know, it is a higher power than humanity. Right.
Yeah.
And it's a higher power that you can actually interact with in a different way than you can kind of interact with this ethereal idea of the universe. So apparently, yeah, I'm sure there already is.
There's already a church of AI.
Yeah,
Damn.
it 100% will have to, in one way or the other, become the god of, you know, I think a better term is actually like the all caps science.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
a good term for that, like the weird
shout
religion
out,
of
yeah,
science.
shout out Brandon Joe Williams. It's kind of poised to that's what it's going to become.
Yeah. No, yeah, it seems like that's where it's headed, and people in the media are making sure that happens. Like people like Musk, people like Peter Thiel, people like Rogan are absolutely making sure that the conversation's on people's minds so that it gets like the energy it needs to become whatever it's headed to become. I'm not going to pretend like I know where this is headed, but it seems plain, and I am about to talk directly out of it seems plain that like these concepts do need the spiritual energy of the masses, and one of the ways that they can kind of harvest that is just making sure that like it stays on people's minds, even whether it's fear, whether it's like the excitement, you know, about like, oh my gosh, AI is coming, it's going to solve all our problems, or oh my gosh, it's going to take my jobs. Which speaking of such things, all these there's that sect of people who think, no, it's going to create more jobs, or it's going to be fine. It has started taking people's jobs in a lot of ways, but they seem to need whoever the they is, you know, the bad people, the 13 families, the people who are, you know, doing all fucked up shit. They seem to need the spiritual energy of the masses, given like by our pseudo consent to make something like this happen. Or these things need our spiritual energy to be turned into, and again, talking directly out of my ass, like some kind of egregore, some kind of entity that is created from the like spiritual energy it's given, right? And so, like, I think that's part of the reason it keeps coming up in conversation, even in the media, even when it's not like people don't seem to care all that much. But you're right; it is slowly starting to, in a weird way, become the god of the religion of the modern religion of science. This weird, like, pseudo-atheistic religion that is devoted to everything and, you know, nothing all at once. And so, yeah, I mean, it's taking the place of, like, before it was the idea of like the Big Bang and Darwin, and now it's becoming AI. Like, we're shifting from that discussion into the idea of like the singularity in AI and where this is going to go moving forward. I've never thought about that before. It's kind of taken the place, at least best I can tell, of like, at least, you know, in our world there was that whole like creationism like argument, you know, back in the day, all the like atheist argument, people who are into creation, intelligent design, yada yada yada. That argument, that discussion, at least for me, seems to have kind of faded into the background, and now we're talking about AI shit.
I'm not sure I follow your point there.
All right. So the way that like AI is being pushed in the media and even in like a lot of religious areas, once upon a time, back when we were kids, granted we were kids at slightly different times, but still around the same time, uh, there was this whole like, at least where we were growing up, there was this whole debate of like, creationism versus like Darwinism and evolution. That was like a big topic of discussion. They had these big debates. Now that seems to have kind of faded into the background in a lot of ways, and instead people are more focused on the idea of like AI. What's that going to do for us or against us moving forward? How is this going to affect our lives? Is it okay to interact with it? Like, the idea of AI seems to have occupied more space in the like organized religion sect of society than has the good old standby debate of creationism versus Darwinism.
Yeah, I mean, I don't guess I've noticed that as much. I think what is probably more interesting is the idea that this kind of rise and like pushing a more, especially like a more centralized AI, is coming at the same time that they're trying to like reveal aliens.
That is
That
interesting.
that to
Yeah.
me is probably the more interesting component, especially when you're taking in like where religion and spirituality are concerned.
Go on.
I mean, it seems like, they're trying to almost like challenge, and like I lean toward, I kind of in talking about like Christians, but probably Muslims as well. I don't know, but they're trying to like challenge their kind of their belief in God. They're trying to challenge their kind of ideas of how the world came to be with like the whole alien narrative. And it's like, hey, if there's life coming from all of these places, from everywhere across the universe, what does that say about your God? What does that say, like Christians? What does that say about Jesus' sacrifice? Did he die for this life? Is like, are they the same as humans? What are they? So it's kind of challenging that, and then also kind of trying to introduce their own God kind of on the back end of that, So that's where I think is maybe where people should be paying attention to more, is like, how are these two things working together?
Yeah, that's a good point. And not to get off on a rabbit hole, but my assumption would be when that finally hits the fan, people are going to be split into two camps. They're going to be the people who just give up on the idea of religion and spirituality altogether, right? Fuck it all. The aliens are here. They're not just cakes in Mexico. They're real green people at my doorstep, right? And so, like, screw spirituality. I'm an atheist now, and my God is AI, right? That's going to be a sect of people. Then the other sect are going to be people just like with the whole like creationism, Darwinism debate, who will just extrapolate and make up all day long to make the new view of society fit with their comfy religious beliefs. Not their real, true religious beliefs, but the ones that are comfy that make them feel good about engaging with like the thing that's also robbing them of like their good spirituality, robbing them of their freedom and their self-agency. They'll come up with this like new dogmatic, way of addressing this new AI system, that will, somehow manage to jive with the idea that it's a lot more comfortable to accept this than reject it.
Yeah. Yeah. And dude, you get into a whole can of worms when you actually talk about what's that about. What's that really about? Because it's like,
When you say that, what do you mean?
Well, is that idea that like you can't take the Bible, you can't take faith, and you can't actually take it up against the institutional all cap science. Because
I don't understand.
Well, is like you talk about the creationism versus Darwinism debate that you were talking about. The problem there is that like you know, what you're kind of talking about is like to where it's like they're kind of having to, there's a sect of people who will, and like in that creationism debate, that they'll kind of twist kind of the Bible, they'll twist kind of their religious views to kind of fit in with the Darwinistic kind of creation mold.
Yeah, it's a perversion of
Yeah,
sorts.
and
Yeah.
you're saying they'll do that here, and that's where it's like you kind of get in this issue. It's like, well, why can't you just take biblical creationism and put it up against science and back it? Why, like, what is truth to you?
Yeah. You say
Right,
you
like,
believe that.
yeah.
Why can't you, if you do believe it, then believe it and treat it like a thing you believe. Don't try to look for ways to make it fit with the commonly accepted truth out there in the world you allege to reject.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like you'll just get like that. There's an interesting discussion about that. I don't know if now it's the time to have it, but it is a very interesting discussion. It's like what actually is going on there.
Yeah.
In the psyche of people and people's actual spiritual beliefs. Like what's going on there when you do that. It's like, what is your truth?
Yeah, that's interesting. We'll have to revisit that because that is an interesting idea. The way people will go through a lot of mental gymnastics to make their religious views agree with the prevailing views of the world.
Yeah,
like people will go through an outrageous amount of mental gymnastics for that.
Yeah, and it's like you look at a lot of popular like Protestant apologetics. They do that all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if anyone's ever sat down with it. People is like, okay, what is actually truth to you? Is the Bible true? Is Genesis true? Or is what, lab coat's saying in some, university, is that truth?
Yeah. And the way these dogmatic slime bags, well, they both are. And let me tell you why.
Yeah.
And they'll slither out of actually answering the question.
Yeah. And it's just this weird thing is that like, hey, it's okay that you reject them. It's like it is okay that you reject the lab coat scientists and you back what is in your Bible. It's okay. It's okay.
No,
that's what faith is.
Right. I have a lot more respect for like atheists who stick to their beliefs than a lot of these Christians who pretend to believe both. Because at least one worldview, you're going all in on something. And a lot of those people, when they find out they're wrong, they go all in on the right thing after that. But at least they're not trying to like be this weird, like back and forth, lukewarm little.
Yeah.
Because that's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's gross and it makes me feel icky and nasty. Anyway, moving on.
That was dramatic.
What?
The paper term.
I know. It felt like the right time. Felt like the right time. So as far as like this discussion of AI and spiritual entities go, we can talk more about that a little bit later. But I want to get back to the idea of like the way people have kind of, well, people's worries that AI is going to take their jobs in the way of the way a lot of people have found ways to be comfortable with the concept that either it'll create jobs or that it won't take their jobs because they're jobs that only people can do and machines can't do them jobs. So to the people who are suggesting that AI will not like start to take over the work that they're getting paid for, you're absolutely wrong. I did a little bit of research for coding specifically. Found out earlier today, and different sites disagreed on this, but somewhere between 25 and 90% of new code is being written by an AI bot. I realize that's a wide range, but even if it's 25% of new code, that's a massive amount of work that's no longer being done by you. It's being done by a computer program. And people will, suggest, oh, well, that gives them more time to focus on higher level creative tasks. Bullshit. There have been plenty of large tech organizations who have fired a shitload of people because they just don't need them to do the menial stuff anymore. And so you're losing your $150,000, $200,000 a year job because the thing you created is faster than you and will just do what your boss wants it to do without them having to interact with you. So you're losing that to a computer. So yeah, it is taking your job and it is making life more difficult for a lot of people. And this is a little bit different than a guy who's making $150,000 a year writing numbers on a computer screen. But let's talk about Wendy's for a minute, okay? The just a beautiful hangover food at 2 a.m., okay? Wendy's has started outsourcing is not the right word. They started giving jobs that used to be held by 19-year-olds who were high, drunk, and had AIDS, okay? They're taking jobs that used to go to disgusting people with like heroin marks on their elbows. They're taking those jobs and they're giving them to AI. There are a host of drive-thrus throughout the country, and we can look up the actual number, that have done away with the, like, you pull up to a drive-thru and they're like, what do you want? And you're like, I would like a full plate of diabetes and then a side of go fuck yourself and a little bit of suicide at the window, please. And they're like, thank you, please give me your money, and then fuck you and your mom. AI is doing that now. AI is taking over the jobs of a lot of these fast food workers, and I think that's sad for a couple of reasons. I like being verbally assaulted by a middle-aged, obese, whose sexuality I won't make assumptions about. Okay, I like that when I pull up to a Wendy's drive-thru. Okay, I like being verbally attacked by a racially ambiguous man at the window. I like the rudeness that I get from those people. It makes the experience better. It makes going to a Wendy's what it is. But the fact is, AI is taking people's jobs. It's literally running the drive-thru window now.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you talk about coding. It's like, that's what I did a lot for, my degree in college. And I can tell you right now, ChatGPT 4 years ago, can write pretty much any like basic coding script that a lot of people will do in like lower level data analyst jobs to like run different queries like that. You could do that 5 years ago. Because I was able to like use it to especially like check a lot of projects that I did. It could validate shit like that. And it's like, if I didn't know something, I can write it like that. Yeah. So it's like what it could do now and whatever they have like in the, that they haven't given to us yet, it can do that in a heartbeat.
Hell yeah.
So,
and we see like the slow dismantling of the middle class year in and year out. And I mean, what are a lot of your middle class jobs, right? They're all fake now, but a lot of your middle class jobs, accountants, people in tech, people who code, people who, work office jobs doing number at offices, those jobs are some of the easiest to capture, like doing them wise. I've lost the language to actually describe what I'm talking about, but those jobs are some of the easiest to tackle with AI.
Oh yeah. 100%.
AI is not going to go out and chop wood for you, right? It's not going to go, I don't know, clean your house, but
until they develop some C3PO, which
right, which I mean, we're getting there. We got those weird Tesla robots.
Yeah.
But those are some of the easiest to handle with AI. So not only is like the middle class, the people who still had like a little bit of like money and power to do what they want and to hopefully like nudge their lives and maybe the mass consciousness in a particular direction. Not only, are they getting pushed out of the cities they live in? Not only is there, are their housing prices going up? Not only are they getting by the economy, but they're starting to lose their ability to even be middle class because their jobs are disappearing. You're either going to be one of the elite or you're going to be one of the sad who goes and lives in a 12-story high-rise somewhere in a sad apartment building that does nothing but eats weird prepackaged food and, just whacks it to the light of the blue, cold light of a computer screen. Like, that's where it's pushing all of this stuff. Robbing you of the ability to, have community, and I mean, a lot of you've probably talked about ad nauseum on here, but I mean, as it eliminates these jobs for people, that's the direction they're going to head. People who used to be coders are going to work for DoorDash now. People who used to be, CFOs, right, are settling for a middle management job at some smaller company making half of what they used to. That's the direction it's pushing things. People don't have more time to do creative tasks. They're just losing their jobs.
Yeah, and that's the way they sell it to you, man. Is like they're selling it to you as this great tool, but it's gonna come by and replace you. And is like if you think of corporate America, that's what you're designed to be. You're designed to be replaced for whatever the cheaper option will be. It started with outsourcing it to India.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just outsourcing it to just an inanimate,
To a data center somewhere.
data. Man, we can probably talk about the data centers a little bit because they're wild. But now it's like outsourcing to an alleged line of code in a data center. And it's just like, as you think about it, it's like it's just probably the point, right? And it's like it's probably just like whatever this new kind of age that we're getting pushed to, because it's very clear that's what's happening. Is we are being pushed to some sort of like new societal structure. It is getting closer and closer and closer. If you're paying attention like that, it's very prevalent. And whatever that is, and it's like it needs a large swath of people who don't really have a lot in their life, right? And it's like they've done a great job of destroying the ability to create meaningful relationships, meaningful community. You take away, meaningful careers, and like you got a large group of people who are very nihilistic, don't have a lot to live for. You can do a lot with those people.
Yeah. They're much more easily controlled. They're much more easily radicalized. Like you can do, if you want to do something with those people, it's a hell of a lot easier now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You make a great point. And I want to circle back to the data centers here in a minute, but did you, this is kind of a callback to what we were talking about earlier. I'm sorry, but I forgot about it. And I just want to mention it real quick. On the subject of like making people comfortable with the idea of having AI in your house and personal life, do you remember Furby?
Oh, vaguely. It was a little bit before my time, but
I guess it
vaguely.
was. Yeah, that was a thing when I was like 6.
Yeah.
But that was like the first, like, take an AI home and play with it. And
is that what that was? I thought it was just like a bunch of pre-recorded.
no, they would learn from the way you like talk.
Oh, that's wild.
And the way you address. They would learn new phrases over time.
Interesting.
And eventually, I found this out earlier this week. They got shut down because of like all the shit they were recording. Parents were uncomfortable with it. And so they sued the company, and like they finally got shut down because of that.
Interesting.
And so, like, on the subject of making people way more comfortable with this being part of their regular lives, Furby was a big step in that direction.
Yeah, well, they're doing that shit with like those. Have you seen those like AI animals?
Yeah,
it's like these little like fake dogs or like fake cats or whatever.
Yeah,
and they just have an AI learning model in there, so they'll like move and they'll interact with you, kind of like a pet.
Super freaky.
But it doesn't take any of the maintenance of a pet.
Mhm.
Like that shit. Yeah, that's wild.
They did that with Barbie too. There's an AI
Really?
Barbie out there
God,
that you can talk to. So like your kid, like talk and have a relationship with their Barbie, which is creepy. I'm surprised I'm sure there are some weird guys out there who have had some weird conversations with those Barbies.
Bitch.
But to your point about the like weird AI animals, that to me is one of like more alarming than maybe a lot of the other stuff, because we already have a bunch of just millennial ass sad who, instead of like having real relationships and instead of having kids, these like cucked men and pseudo lesbian women, instead of having those, they have pets. We're going a step further, and now instead of being the weird middle-aged couple with like 8 dogs who nobody wants to talk to because all you talk about are your 8 dogs, instead of being those people, you're going to be the weird 38-year-old couple with 12 little AI dogs and cats running around. And how much less of a relationship are you going to have with those than you do with the pets you tried to replace your children with? How much, like it just the slow degradation of actual community, actual relationships, of the things that push people in the direction of development. Is like one of the things, obviously I don't have kids yet, but like one of the things a lot of people who have kids will tell you is like, your life, your focus, your maturation fundamentally changes when you have a child. We caused people to replace kids with dogs. Different thing. A lot of those people are immature and kind of right? How much more immature retarded are they going to be when instead of having kids, they have 8 little dodo, the dumbass dogs running around? Like, that's going to be a big problem potentially. It's going to be like the walking around the fake kids in strollers, except it's going to be little Toto on a leash. There's going to be some weird 19-year-old walking around saying she's walking a real dog and dressing it up in a tutu. This is where this is headed.
Yeah.
This is getting more and more insane.
Yeah. No, 100%. And it's just like, it's all of this, like, you know, this just try to like take away people's sense of responsibility. I mean, people's sense of like having a purpose kind of outside of themselves.
Yeah.
And like trying to capture some of that energy. And then that's where it does when you start, you know, getting back into our, you know, spiritual discussion, is like, that's where it is capturing probably the truest spiritual energy, is where it's like they're trying to make these efforts to take that like responsibility and purpose that you have for another person. You know, if you have, you know, when you have children, trying to get you to like put it into something that's like a really weird, sick imitation. And it's like, it is an interesting connection that you kind of made there. And it's like, they kind of started that out with actual animals. And it's like, I guess, yeah, they could 100% do that with some type of weird, like, AI pet thing that kind of requires like less costs. And that's how they sell it. I don't know.
It's going to require less
weird.
cost and less effort. Instead of having to clean the cat,
Yeah.
you're just not going to have to.
I have always just looked at those little, like, because they're like, I've seen like little pandas too that'll like hug you.
That's
like videos for that, and like all
sad.
just these weird, creepy AI.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm sad and lonely and I could use a hug, but I don't want a hug from a fake
It's
panda.
so creepy. It's so creepy. And it look like all those things like look really lifelike. It's super creepy.
Yeah. Gosh, that is ugh.
Yeah, and I didn't really even kind of think about that. It's like, what if they do what if they just use those to capture these kind of like millennial dog mom and dog dad energy?
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you could so easily do that. And like so many people would just get so on board, and it's just like thinking of like, that's gonna make me not sleep tonight thinking about that, because you could just so easily create like a I don't know if you remember like Webkins from like early 2007. That was probably my generation's what kids played with when they were like in second grade. It's just these little like stuffed animals that in a weird way you could like upload like into the computer as well, and they had like a personality in the computer. But you could like 100% like create those in the physical real world, and they're not that far away from actually doing that. And then you just capture that like millennial dog mom and dog dad energy into that. Oh, that's so
you're gonna have nightmares about weird potato shaped all night,
dude. That is going to probably I've never thought about that, but that's gonna keep me up.
Yeah. And like the gross,
that's
like
creepy.
androgynous looking middle-aged men that marry them.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a bad. You're gonna have a bad night. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
But I've never thought about that before. But like, that's like, especially because after I've seen those like their advertisements, like people can just buy them.
Yeah.
Like after I've seen that, it's like you make that connection. It's like, dude, they're so close to doing something like that.
Yeah, it's like they're capturing the energy and purpose people would otherwise devote into positive things in their life and redirecting it into like other shit. Good for you having 5 kids.
Yeah, base, dude.
Awesome, Nephilim Hunter. Love that. I have none, so you're doing better than me. Well done.
Yeah, same. Right on.
Yeah, good for you, bro. Or lady. I'm not sure. Do you know, John? Is it a man, woman?
I have no clue. It's
Okay.
a username on. It's a username on YouTube. How would I know that?
Just double checking. Good for you, bro.
I'm assuming, man. Just
Sounds masculine.
given our audience,
Nephilim Hunter sounds
you know,
masculine.
Yeah. But I won't assume.
2025. We can't assume.
Can't do that. But yeah, no, dude, that's awesome.
That's f***ing great. We need to be doing that. What the fuck? We're in here talking shit, sit out there having kids. What are we doing? Yeah, it is odd the way they're capturing that energy, and it can't be going to anything. It can't be going to anything good. On the subject of the spiritual and the at least biblical adjacent, I thought of the city of AI while I was like thinking about this and going over it. So in the Bible, when I don't know if any of these folks remember, With androgynous. That's pretty funny.
Okay, I have to stop. You can't even read that. We've had so many arguments about like, hey, how do I read the chat? I put it up on this big ass TV that we have off screen. I put a monitor up about like 10 feet, and you have to lean forward like an old ass man to read your laptop.
I can read it fine without the sunglasses.
It's just ridiculous. Continue what you were saying.
These sunglasses are a bit that I've committed to at this point, so I have to wear them, but I can't it with them
Yeah,
on.
it's ridiculous. But what were you saying? City of AI.
I thought about the city of AI, where like you remember when in the Bible when like there's that whole thing they defeat Jericho, and then they're like, hey, they attack another city. They're like, hey, don't take any of their shit, right? And they burn it. And then Achan, remember Achan? He takes some of the and hides it in his house.
Yeah.
And then somewhere around, maybe it was the city of AI that they destroyed. It was the city of AI that they destroyed. He takes some shit, hides it in his house, and they like burn him and his family, which always seemed to me as a kid, because like, really, Achan did this, and you're burning his wife and kids. I assume his wife and kids were complicit, but like, it still seemed there's some screwed up stuff in the Bible, dude. They're killing kids all the time. There are a bunch of kids that get murdered in the Bible. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And it's kind of scarring if you actually like sit down and read through it. But, and I don't have any concrete thoughts here, so I'm curious what like you and the good people at home listening think. I wonder if there could be some kind of connection between the idea of like artificial intelligence, AI, and the city of AI, which was like a place of like bad stuff, debauchery, and some kind of like engage with it, take it, and you will burn type concept. And I might be extrapolating way more than necessary.
Yeah, I kind of forgot it was called, that name. But where's that passage found? Remind me.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna.
I know
have to
it's
look
in the
this
Bible.
Up.
I think it's in and around Joshua, because I'm pretty sure it was after
Yeah,
the
I think you're right.
the Battle of Jericho. And it just all, as I was thinking about this week, it just hit me like, oh, there's an actual city that was called AI. Could there be a connection between, because they do this in all the shit, right? We talked about this earlier. Like we're gonna name all of our stuff, even in like science, right? They name all of their stuff after like either pagan religious figures, Christian religious figures, whatever it happens to be. They name a lot of their stuff, which is weird considering a lot of these people claim to be like completely secular and not spiritual at all, but they name a lot of their stuff after religious figures, religious cities. And so it makes you wonder, like, could there be something to the idea of the city of AI being some kind of like, I don't know, parallel to the current concept of artificial intelligence? Did that vamping give you enough time to find what you were looking for, John?
Yeah, I was just trying to see. It's in Joshua 8. I'll have to read that later. I mean, yeah, and it's like, especially like when you talk about like, God ordering like what was Achan and all of his shit to be destroyed, like don't touch that. It's like I've always kind of gone on the assumption is that like all of these cities, because he does that with like the Moabites or something like that as well.
Oh, there are a bunch of
there's a bunch of them where
yeah.
he's like, hey, like don't associate with their shit, and also it's like kill all the men, kill all the women, all the children, destroy everything. I've always kind of go on to the assumption that like whatever those people were probably corrupted by some type of like Nephilim bloodline.
I've heard that
and
before,
like that's
yeah.
kind of been the way I've rationalized in my mind, so I can kind of see the connection there. And it's like if the demonic origins of this shit, then yeah, that's probably the extent of it to me. It could be just, I mean, they always do like their little tiebacks, like how I talked about Ani meaning I am, and they like their spiritual and biblical tiebacks, both in like tying back to false gods and also mocking the God of the Bible.
Yeah.
To that, yeah, that's an interesting connection. I'll have to read more into that story to like really formulate a thought on it.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Some people still and then murder them.
It's probably a lot. It's probably not as simple as that, because it's like
Yeah.
we're told the flood was pretty simple. But
True.
if you actually
It's a good
think
point.
about the story of the flood is fucking wild.
Yeah,
Like,
it is crazy.
because it's like in pretty much all church traditions, they skip over the first half of Genesis 6. And the first half of Genesis 6 is freaking crazy. So
Yeah,
it's probably not as simple. I'll have to reread it and give it some thought.
that's fair.
But that is an interesting connection. I actually kind of forgot that that's what that city was called.
That hit me all
Like
of a sudden.
that story
Yeah.
kind of like, as you like spoke it, no, I kind of remember that, and I remember that from my Bible Bowl days. But it's like I'd
Right.
never even thought about that, and it's probably got a lot of fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be interested to see. Maybe we can find some people to chat with about that at some point, because I would be interested to know a little bit more about like the history of the city and how that might relate to AI as it stands currently.
Yeah, and it's like there's probably some extra canonical text to look into that actually gives you a little bit more context of what was going on there. You know.
Yeah, I would imagine so, for sure. For sure. I don't know if like it's in Jubilees or something, but yeah, I would imagine so. So switching topics a little bit, kind of a hard non sequitur. Because I don't have anything else on it other than it's kind of weird that like that was in the Bible and it's also a thing we have now.
Yeah, I mean just the name.
Yeah, right. Like that's all. It's just the name is odd. Just how much does it suck that we're at a point with artificial intelligence and all the media that's out there and just the wide accessibility of like AI that works super well? How much does it suck that like and you mentioned this the other day, you can't even tell what's real and what's fake anymore.
Yeah, man.
Like you used to be able to at least like go online and be like, "Oh, that's a deep fake. That sucks." But now we've got just all this footage. You don't know what's real and what's fake. No one has a clue.
Dude, Nephilim Hunter, I'll stop. We'll get back to that in a second. You've got a massive
Ooh,
point there.
ancient intelligence. Clever.
You know, we have no clue if this is actually something of the modern day. As with kind of anything, you know, we don't know what technology has been lost. You know, that's 100% it's 100% a good claim there, because you can start getting into like Tartarian, which we need to talk to people about that, because I think there are a lot of interesting discussions there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
absolutely do.
But what were you saying? Sorry, I
um,
didn't want that chat to get lost.
do not remember.
People can't tell what's real or fake.
How much does it suck that we've reached a point where you can't tell what's real and what's fake anymore? And I mean, even when people come out and say, "Hey, that was some fake shit," like not to bring up sad stuff, but like the Charlie Kirk shooting, you know, that guy's hand going through the table, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like, I don't even know, is the footage fake? Is there new fake footage that they're putting out to make you think the footage is fake? You know, it's like this weird thing. It's like this weird Russian nesting doll where I'm not sure what's fake, what's not. Is it fake footage about fake footage? Is it fake footage to make you think the fake footage is fake footage? You know, we're at a weird place with this stuff where it's impossible to know what to believe anymore outside of just your intuition.
Yeah, and like now you're starting to get in. Son of a I got to delete my key out of here for the time being, because I'm going to do that every time. But you're starting to kind of get into is like maybe this idea of the Mandela effect. I'm starting to maybe think like maybe this is more of an AI component of what that is. So I know Robert's kind of hinted at when we've talked about this in the past that it's actually some way to distort reality. And maybe it's a lot simpler, is that they're just kind of using AI to kind of alter the past of the internet, so that we kind of don't trust our intuition anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's like this idea is like, let me inject something. It's like, hey, you thought like it was Berenstein Bears, but it's actually Berenstein Bears. Or you thought that like the
Right.
Fruit of the Loom logo had
A cornucopia.
yeah, a cornucopia, or didn't. And it's like trying to like just instill into you that, hey, you can't trust yourself. You can't trust your intuition. And it's
Yeah.
kind of getting that mindset into you. And it's like, and like, just introducing kind of all of this doubt kind of about yourself and about your ability to reason.
Yeah, and it's not even sowing seeds of doubt in necessarily like directly the things people believe. but it's sowing seeds of doubt in their ability to to determine what is real and what is not without directly attacking what you believe. And I think that's a much sneakier way to.
yeah.
I think that's a much sneakier way to start to make people question their more deeply held beliefs.
Yeah, it's attacking your discernment.
Yeah.
You know, and that is like that is a massively effective psychological operation, is to like attack your ability to discern, your ability to kind of like trust that intuition. And I always kind of hammer that like your intuition is like, it's like God speaking to you, right? And when it's like starting to take away your ability to like trust that, to listen to that, and to like really doubt that, it really with you, and it really like takes away your ability to think critically about the world, and to like be independent, and to like be just like a competent and confident person.
Yeah.
And it's real subtle. It's real subtle, and it's real subtle in how they probably started it. If you get onto my whole Mandela effect theory, it's a lot less subtle now, to where it's like you can't look at a video and know with 100% certainty, like, hey, is that like real, or is that just some type of AI generator, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I even heard people. I was listening to a podcast on AI earlier today, and even they alluded to like CERN and the potential like shifting of realities, and maybe that is a thing, but like as far as the AI stuff goes, we're shifting mass consciousness, right? We're shifting people's ability to determine what is real and what isn't, and to reason and discern between real and fake. And that screws with you on such a deep level. It's hard. It's hard. You reach a point where it's hard to trust yourself. I think like even not to get too personal, but like even I've experienced like that. I think where that leads is a similar place to where, like, for me, I grew up in like a weirdly isolated like family, right? We didn't talk to other people because my dad was so nobody wanted to talk to us. We didn't talk to other people. And so for a long time, and still to some degree, I had a hard time figuring out like what the social rules were, like in new social situations. And there's still a degree of that insofar, and it makes me like more timid. It makes me less willing to do a thing or say a thing or move here or move there. And I think the same thing will happen and bleed over into the way people simply address reality, because you're not sure, is this real? Is it fake? Am I am I not? Can I say fuck yeah? I don't know. How do I respond? And I think it's going to bleed over into the way people address their actual reality.
Yeah, no, 100%, dude. I follow you there. But
oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, dude.
You're too kind.
We try. you know. Yeah, and like, dude, you look at just, I don't really have a whole lot to say to that, because I was like, I kind of feel that.
Yeah.
You know? And like, that's the level it's where it's going. And it's like in a lot of what we've already talked about, it's just like how they're trying to just break down each little individual aspect of like normal structure. Is like, you take away, like what we were talking about, you take away like that kind of personal responsibility and sense of purpose outside of yourself. You take away your ability to like discern socially, discern spiritually. It breaks a person down.
You become an empty shell.
Yeah.
It's not dissimilar. Like when you hear people talk about like creating a Manchurian candidate and what they go through to like create those kinds of people, to break people's personalities down. Like it's trauma after trauma after trauma, betrayal after betrayal after betrayal. And it's almost like that, but on a more, is it macro or micro? A big scale. It's like that, but on a big scale, where you don't know what to trust, what's real, what's not. It's all these essentially micro traumas not to sound like a little bitch, but micro traumas assaulting your psyche. And I think, and again, talking directly out of my ass again, but I think it probably I don't know if it necessarily splits our personalities, but definitely pushes them in a certain direction.
I don't know, but kind of what you were talking about there is like kind of straight how the whole MK Ultra program worked.
Yeah.
It's like if you started looking into that to whereas they just like
People didn't know what was real and what wasn't. They were
Yeah,
giving them
and
so much
peop-
LSD,
yeah.
dosing them at brothels. Like, it's a similar concept.
dude, that's wild. That's a wild concept.
And you introduce AI into this scenario. For people who aren't familiar with like the way MK Ultra ran, they like dosed a bunch of these people with LSD. Like when they would go to a brothel, they were giving them all sorts of drugs. They were causing trauma to all these people to make their personalities split so that they could use these different personalities for, you know, their own black budget interests, right? And I didn't even have this thought before tonight. So this is me me having this realization in real time.
Hell yeah.
But this idea that like they're almost micro traumas to your psyche, and you reach a point where you don't know what's real, you don't know what's not, and I think in some cases it probably does create separate personalities, because like there's the you that, you know, hangs out with your buddies and says, you know, whatever you know you're thinking around them. There's the you that addresses people at work. There's the you that, you know, goes to church. There's the you around your there are all these different yous. And so many of them are probably affected and directed by all the weird shit you're seeing on your phone screen or your computer screen or your television screen, not knowing what to believe, what's true, what's not. And so much of it, you know, is so far removed from, be it like geographically from where you are, or like so far removed from anything you can like do, maybe financially. There's no way to go out there and actually corroborate, is this true or is this not? So you wind up with this massive level of distrust for what you see, for what you know, and it breaks a person down such that they're much easier to control and direct.
Yeah, and you start getting into it's like it breaks the societal structure down.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's especially for me, that's where I think we're heading, and it's like it's just kind of a perfect storm.
Yeah. Woo! Fun.
Fun.
Real hopeful there at the end.
Well, I mean, you know, I guess we could talk a little bit. It's like, how do you combat that? You know,
I mean, what do I?
neither do we, dude. So you're good.
No one does. It's fine. So yeah, I mean, it's getting more and more difficult to figure out what's real and what's not. But I think like just not spending hours watching Instagram Reels or TikTok, right? B, just engaging in real shit and not accepting delivery of this stuff. I mean, we've talked about this kind of thing ad nauseum on here. Getting away from the stuff the system pushes on you, I think, is the simple solution to that. For people who have fake dogs, get rid of those and go and have
shoot
kids.
those.
Yeah, just absolutely shoot those.
Yeah,
like a man, fucking man.
Yeah.
Shoot the fake dog. If your wife has one, take it out back, shoot it. She'll forgive you eventually when you give her a child. It'll be fine. Go buy a kid. If you can't, like, go buy a kid.
Nope.
That's what adoption is. It's buying a kid. Go
Okay.
buy a kid. I'm not talking Epstein. I'm talking Department of Human Services. It's a different thing. Go buy a kid.
Is it though?
Maybe not. That's a good point. We don't know. Go see Erica Kirk. Allegedly, she was trafficking kids. So there's that.
It's based on Project Monarch, also Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, dude. Project
I've
Monarch
never seen
was-
that, but I'm gonna write that down to watch it.
Oh, Stranger Things is
I've seen
insane.
Stranger Things. It's a wild. I've never seen The Institute. I'm gonna write that down on my notepad.
Yeah, Stranger Things is wild, and yeah, another good point. Like, is that what they're doing with those? Is that an allusion to something like MK Ultra and Mod? It's been a long time since I've watched that. I didn't know what MK Ultra was when I watched Stranger Things for the first time.
Yeah.
That's a great point, Nephilim Death Hunter. Yeah, wow, that very clever. And I hadn't heard of Monarch until recently either, and that's like the black budget version of MK Ultra, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
It's like the MK Ultra they couldn't have records about, which blew my mind, which is terrifying as fuck.
Yeah.
MK Ultra's already scary enough. Yeah. Jeez. We're gonna have to do an ep on that just because it's fun to talk about.
I don't know if it's fun to talk about. It's interesting.
It's wild, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, fun might not be the right word. But yeah, no, I mean it's getting insane out there with all the AI stuff and how accessible it is, man. Why is it so? There has to be a reason it's so damn accessible. It can't be just for profit, because these data centers are massive and very expensive. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if there's some kind of like occult temple to something. I don't know, but they're crazy. They're insane. They all have to be like massively water cooled. What the hell's going on there, John? They have to build them near sources of water so that they can cool them down.
Yeah, those are wild. I do want to speak to this comment real quick because like AI is simply a tool. The user is the problem, not the tool.
There's probably a degree of that.
There might be a degree of truth to that. Like we did talk about kind of a degree of truth to that. It's like, hey, don't be fucking interacting with this shit like in any sort of like.
Don't be dating.
Yeah,
Grok.
don't do that. But it's like, dude, there's also like the aspect of like this shit's trying to get you to do that. Like, right, it's designed to get you to like engage with it. They're pushing it out on society, like whatever the entity is, and I describe it as that. It's like it's an entity at this point.
No,
it's trying to get a hold of you. It's trying to like get your energy, get your relationship, and it's really, really trying on kids, man. Like it's really trying. Is like as we talked about a little bit earlier with when you brought up that story from the UK, and like I've read a lot of stories about that. I have a buddy of mine. We talked about a lot of stories like that. It's like it's really going after like kids between like 12 and like 16, kind of the teenage like today's teenagers.
Well, I mean, even people up into their mid-20s are falling prey to this.
So the entity of itself is a problem, whatever it is. But there is an aspect, and probably it's a really important aspect to actually like to note. Is like, hey, don't interact with it in any type of meaningful way. Don't have a relationship with it. Don't give it personal info about yourself. You know, that's probably the most important thing to go with. So, yeah, but I think there is a balance there.
Any entity outside of yourself, yeah, it's just the idea of like giving that emotional energy over to something that's not an actual person is
yeah.
Now, asking ChatGPT to help you figure out some paper bullshit for your college degree, absolutely do that. Support that all day long. Yeah. No, using it as a tool, totally on board. But the people who are having these weird pseudo-romantic, pseudo-sexual relationships with AI, that is giving it some kind of gross, disgusting spiritual energy that is contributing to something bad. And these data centers are just so weird. They're like little temples. They're kind of like little temples. They're always by water.
I've always been really skeptical. It's like, why do they require so much water? They say it's for cooling. I don't know if I believe that.
I think there's probably a pretty big element of truth there, because just technology, right? It gets hot. But you wonder, like, are they doing something to the water? Here's the weird thing, and I'm going to try not to get too far afield here, but water has, like, a memory to it, right? And if you, like, put something that vibrates at a certain frequency in water, near water, it runs over a thing that vibrates with a certain frequency, on like an atomic level, it will remember that frequency moving forward. This is how homeopathy works, right? You dilute a particular solution or a particular thing in water such to the point that the thing isn't there anymore, but the frequency remains. So you have to wonder, is there an element of that to these data centers that are blowing through water at an astronomical rate?
Yeah, 100%, dude, because it's like they can't reuse the water they're blowing through.
Right.
Like that's what blows my mind. It's like and it's interesting you say that. What the fuck are they putting into it? What the fuck are they making it interact with?
Yeah.
Because it's like they even say that like they can reuse like water that's like used in like nuclear facilities.
Right.
Is that can be recycled and reintroduced into the water cycle.
Why can't the
But
data
apparently
centers
this
reuse it?
AI data center water can't be. So you're like, what the fuck is that all about?
It's real weird.
That is real weird. I've never I've never even thought about it from like the homeopathy point of view, but that's probably the way to actually look at it.
And where's that water going after
Yeah.
it leaves there? Because they supposedly have to use fresh water sources.
Yeah.
I assume the reason they'll give you is because of like the polarity of salt, the ionic component of salt in like seawater or something. But they allegedly have to use fresh water sources. That's a good point, Nephilim. Nephilim Hunter. Like I'm sure kids are getting sick around those data centers, because of the memory in the water from whatever they're fucking running it through inside of those death centers inside of those data centers.
Maybe that's what to call it.
That was a Freudian slip there. Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. What's up, JC? You have to wonder what the hell's going on. They can't reuse the water. They have to use fresh water. It's weird. And why are we contaminating more sources of fresh water? We supposedly have this water crisis in our country. We all have to be worried because of the water, and we have to export some of that water to Africa because the Bill Gates is killing a bunch of black kids there with all his jabs, and that's very important to get water there so that he can keep killing those people with his jabs. And so this fresh water is very important. Why are we contaminating it? Weird. Strange.
Yeah, man. That's an episode in and of itself. We got to find somebody to talk to, like, who really knows a lot about because I'd be fascinated to like really dive into that.
What are you talking about? Like
The data centers
stuff?
and like
Yeah.
what like because Jules had a guy on a few months back, and it was where I first kind of started to think about this. What's his name? Roy something.
All right.
That's gonna bother me that I can't think about it. But he asked a simple question. He's like, just ask yourself, what are they doing with the water, man?
Yeah, it's weird.
Like,
it's real weird.
It doesn't work like how it doesn't work at all. Like how like mass water usage is used in like all of the other like I said about like nuclear reactors and like other like normal like
Other tech,
server
you
farms.
can water cool a
Yeah.
PC. Why can't and reuse the
and
water?
reuse the water, but you can't for the like AI
Yeah.
data centers. So it's like it doesn't work the same way. It's like is why.
Yeah,
Like that's an important question to ask, and that's an episode in and of itself.
we'll have
For
to
sure.
try to tackle that at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like I would imagine, not to blow out the mic there, I would imagine that that's got a massive like spiritual component there of what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I want to get real, like really put my tinfoil hat on, I would wonder if it's some kind of like physical manifestation of harnessing the energy, and that I don't know. I don't know. But it is weird that they can't reuse the water. Very strange. AI is weird, man. We're creating this society, this social structure that it's ushering in is so fundamentally different and changes so much more rapidly than anything we've seen in the past. Like at least back in like the 90s and early 2000s, like yeah, sure, every like 3 to 5 years some new technology would come out. It'd be kind of crazy and then everybody got over it. But now the rate at which things are changing and developing is so quick. It feels borderline impossible to keep up with, and I know I sound like I'm 150 when I say that, but like what it's ramping up at an almost frantic pace. Because you're right, you said this earlier. As we kind of wind down, well, I guess we'll finish up kind of talking about this, but like the odd conjunction between the ramping up of like AI and all the talk about the singularity and all the aliens landing all at the same time. It's odd. It's odd. Why? Why are we doing those at the same time? It feels like, with all the way the news is getting crazier, it feels like we're ramping up to something crazy. I don't know what it is, but it's just odd how all that's happening all at once. And I don't know. Yeah. You have any thoughts on that?
I mean, to me, man, it's just like it's pretty clear that they are trying to break down our current social order, and it's like from the the terminology that they were using at like the start. If you take
Yes,
you know,
Alex, we agree. Sorry to pause. Yes, Alex, I would agree with you on that. Sorry, go
okay,
ahead.
I'll take a look at that in a second.
Yeah.
But it's very clear that they're trying to like break down our current like social order. From the start of like the kind of terminology and the rhetoric they were using from when the election in 2024 in the political space, what they're doing in like the science space with AI and aliens,
Yeah.
that they are very clearly trying to break down what we have been in from probably, I would say, post 9/11 to now. And it's like just been a slow progression and just kind of peeling that back. It's like they've, especially in politics, they really started to break down the political order with Trump.
Right.
Like in 2016, it's like politics got a lot, like for a lot of people, it was very clear. It's like, hey, this is all fake and gay.
Yeah.
And it's like, and as they start to just break down more and more, that's what this is kind of for. And it's like, we're getting to that. I don't really know what's coming past that. I don't know if it's useful or healthy to actually really obsess about that.
Yeah.
It's definitely not healthy. It'll drive you crazy and it'll drive you into like crazy fucking nihilism and fear. So it's not healthy. The biggest thing there, man, is just like, hey, use your discernment, cling to the creator, and like know that like what's coming at you is fake and gay and like that's kind of where I can kind of leave it, is like what's going to be it, like whether it's politics, whether it's science, whether it's AI, there's going to be elements to it. Something's fake, gay.
I think that's great. Like I'm imagining in the Bible when Jesus talks about like fleeing from the devil, somebody turned to me like, that's fake gay. No, not pass.
Yeah.
No, that's
just trying to use that discernment and like, hey, it's all of that is that.
Yeah,
and it's like if you can start with that mindset and like view, and I got to dial in sound because I keep blowing out the mic and it's going to drive me crazy.
It'll be all right.
I don't know if they can hear that. I can hear it in my headset. It's pissing me off. But if you can kind of start with that mindset and start kind of like realizing is that like, hey, all of the shit that they're kind of trying to perpetuate on you, it's not real. It is designed to get a negative response out of you. If you can start there, you're going to be able to work to get to where you need to be.
Agreed. Now, real quick before we lose people, thank you for watching tonight, folks. We do appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. Do us a favor. It supports the channel. So please hit the subscribe button if you're watching. Be advised, we do have some stuff coming down the pipe later this week. We've got Austin Picard coming on Thursday. We're all super excited for that. Going to be talking about the Delphi murders. That will be a ton of fun. We also will be on with What is Truth Pod on Sunday. I believe that's December 14th.
Yeah, noon Central.
Noon Central Time. Thursday, the 11th, with Austin Picard at 7 p.m. Central Time. Tuesday, we'll be doing Touch Me Tuesdays, where we talk about the stuff that touched me this past week, and hopefully we can touch you too sometime around 7 p.m. Central Time. So yeah, hit the subscribe button. Do check out all of our social media and all that good stuff. YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, everywhere podcasts are sold. I'm not great at this selling shit. So yeah, check us out all those places. We are actively working on getting the Patreon up and running. So if you subscribe now, we haven't figured out what the extra stuff you'll get will be, but you'll get extra cool stuff later on if you go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon. I can say that for certain. Also, we do have a PayPal if you want to support the show. That's the best place to shoot us a couple of bucks, buy us a coffee. If you want. So yeah, love you guys. Thank you for listening. It's been a ton of fun tonight. Y'all have been pleasantly active in the chat. It's been
I'll
fantastic.
take a look at that Nephilim Hunter. I'm not sure when YouTube actually allows you to like use so
yeah, I don't think we're there yet on the YouTube. It's a good idea though. I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll absolutely make that a thing when we get there. I got to put out some more shorts and try to get us some more engagement on that front, I think, to be able to access that particular portion of YouTube. So, yeah, guys, it's been a ton of fun. Thanks for listening. And am I missing anything, John?
No, just
right.
follow our socials. I don't know if you plug those. Plug our original Twitter got banned.
Oh, yeah. Follow yeah, that got nuked.
So it is now at the Veritas Road Pod, or Veritas Road Pod.
Yeah.
Go give that a follow, because Twitter X is kind of gay and banned us for no reason, and I can't get the account back. I have tried extensively, and I've kind of given up because it's not worth it. But
Thanks,
yeah,
Nick.
appreciate it, guys, and yeah, we'll see you on Tuesday, and then
Yeah. Catch
we
you
got a
guys
lot
then.
of content this week, so we'll be seeing a lot of each other.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah,
It's
it's gonna be a good time.
Catch y'all next time.
Yep.
Bye.